Hey everyone, welcome back to the Movie Bunker. Put your fists up, because today we're looking at a nice fighting action film, Chocolate, from 2008. Not even with Chocolat. This is Chocolate, brought to us by Prachya Pinkeu. I'm probably butchering the name horribly. This guy's some of the guy who brought us the Protector movies. Well, we have the story of Zin and Zen. So, the mother who, was involved with some bad people, had a daughter, Zen. Zen is autistic, and the mother has tried to remove herself from her previous bad life. But of course, things catch up with her, and her daughter gets involved in that whole seedy underworld. You can take or leave the whole, or not take or leave, but the whole autism thing. Some people might be offended by. I don't think it was meant as an offense. I think it was just meant as it's obviously someone's way of thinking how autism works, and that's part of the thing with autism is there's no specific way how autism works. So it's different with every person who has autism. Everyone is different. They're still individuals. They still have individual ways that they can and can't interact, and things that they can and can't do. So people who are offended by it, I don't think the offense was meant. Now, does that excuse it? That's a whole different debate I don't want to get into. But Zen grows up watching, like Tony Jaa movies and these fighting movies, and she grows up watching these men practicing like a fighting school across from her home, and she picks these things up, and it turns out she's really, really, really good at it. So, is the story in this movie great? No, it's not. I mean, there is some emotional depth there because you have, the mother-daughter thing going on, but these types of movies, the story is never going to be that deep and that, strong. It's just not. You go to these types of movies, you watch these movies because you want to see people getting hit and kicked, and just you want the moments. This movie has a lot of those moments. It's the type of moment when something happens, like a guy falls like off a ledge and then he smacks like two things falling down, or when someone lands and they hit right there. It's that moment where you're like, oh, because you can feel it yourself. You can almost sympathize, even though these are bad guys. You can sympathize with the pain they're feeling. And this movie has a lot of that. And the choreography and the fighting is really, really well done. And especially the whole big final showdown. And spoiler, there's a final showdown in a fighting action movie. Imagine that. It's just brilliant. Scale of 1 to 10, this is, man, it's like being slapped silly, but you still, you're loving it. You're loving it, man. It's just so good with the action scenes. Now, it does take a bit of time to get to that, and it's a slow build. But once it builds, once it starts burning, it's an inferno, baby, and it's a lot of fun to watch. If you like to see great choreography in fighting and stuff like that, you really need to check this one out. I highly, highly recommend it. And like I said, it's got a little bit of emotional depth, a little bit of empathy, and you can feel for the characters in the movie as well. So that's all I have for this one. Until next time, you all stay safe out there in the wasteland, folks.